Do you guys realize it makes no fucking sense that we don't live underneath the ground? Why would we build our houses? Why would we build civilization on the top of the earth? Just exposed like that. Do you know how much could be avoided? We would avoid tsunamis. We would avoid earthquakes would probably still be a problem actually. But we would avoid tornadoes. We would avoid extreme weather conditions. Like everything would just be better if we were just underneath. Why would we? You're telling me as well, the first human beings that like spawned, the first intelligent ones, they still genuinely thought a cave was smarter than just digging, and they could dig from like early days. Like remember, like digging is not hard. They could dig, and instead they're seeing tigers, leopards, ostriches, fucking like dinosaur ancestors, and they're still thinking, yep, let's stay on the same level as these guys. We'll go in a cave. That is literally fucking stupid. You're dumb. You're so dumb.
Everybody knows that I'm a good girl, officer.
Alright, all the people that want to elevate their lifestyle, listen up. These are 6 things that I stopped doing in order to elevate myself. Number 1, reacting to things that I don't like. When you don't like something and you react to it, you put yourself on the same frequency, the same vibration as it, and you allow it to dim yourself. You're literally exchanging energy in order to interact with it. And energy is not unlimited, it's very limited, so you got to be careful what you spend it on. Attention is spent energy, whether that be responding to negativity, hate, gossip, etc. The best reaction is none. The best revenge is leveling up until you forget about it. Number 2 is going to be porn. Porn fucks up your brain. If you don't know what dopamine is, it's that happy hormone that we have in our brains. And so when you watch porn, it's like going on social media and eating junk food. It gives you a lot of dopamine at the time being. And then when you're out of that, everything else seems like it's not as fun, or, it just fucks up your perception. It fucks up your happiness levels. Watching porn also fucks up your sense of reality, so you don't want to be out here not feeling like you're on planet Earth. You want to be very present in the moment. It's a gift. Instead, use that sexual energy for your manifestations and your self-love. Number 3 is going to be constantly using derogatory terms or slang. There's nothing wrong with representing where you're from. A lot of times you might hear me say like a 1-2 where it's like, oh, whoa, she's not, Leveling up your vocabulary is so key, because then you're going to be able to converse with upper class individuals and actually be able to understand them. It's one thing to talk to them, but to actually understand them and to be able to hold a conversation is essential. People can tell a lot based on the quality of the discussion and the content, the actual context of it. Number 4 is going to be drinking every single time I'm out. If you have to drink in order to have fun in a certain area, you got to question yourself, why can't I be sober in this area? If I can't be sober somewhere and have fun or actually enjoy it, then I shouldn't be in that area in the first place. Number 5 is going to be speaking in order to avoid silence. You don't want to be saying just any and everything, because your words hold power and it gives off a certain image and reputation of yourself. If you're just speaking nonsense and contributing noise, people are not going to listen to you. So if you speak when you actually have something valuable to say, people are going to listen to you more, because they know that you don't just speak for no reason. And trust me, situations are only awkward if you make it awkward or if you perceive it that way. I've run out of time, but I have more, so stay in touch.
If you're currently trying to decide on whether or not you should buy something, just buy it. Like, you didn't ask to be born. You literally didn't ask to be here, but you're already here, so you might as well buy it.
Your brain doesn't care what thoughts you use. To be honest, your brain doesn't actually even know what you're saying. And I can prove that because if you were to translate your thoughts into a different language, like let's say you're gonna speak Russian to your brain, it'd be like, what the fuck is that? You would experience no emotional overwhelm or reaction to your thoughts in Spanish, Korean, whatever, unless you speak those languages. So what this means is that you have created associations through many times of thinking these thoughts that your brain has now memorized as like, oh, whenever like Sam thinks that, she feels this. Great. We're just going to do that automatically every time because the brain is super efficient, right? You don't wake up in the morning and your brain go, hey, what do you want to think today? It just thinks what it's been thinking for a really long time, whether or not those are creating positive or negative results in your life. And so if your thoughts don't mean anything, right, that means that you can focus on whatever the F you want that's going to put you into a higher vibration. So I don't try to think positive thoughts because a lot of, and I mean, I do, but if I try to think positive thoughts when I'm being negative, those positive thoughts actually create more resistance because then I start feeling shame about my negative thoughts. So instead, I'll just think really neutral thoughts, or I'll use a lot of affirmations like, what if I already had everything I wanted? What if I already had the ideal house, body, car, whatever? You know, it doesn't really matter that this isn't like your goal thought. It just matters that it produces a better feeling because your brain doesn't understand these words anyways. Your brain can only understand these words or their meanings based on the associations you've made over time. So once again, you haven't made those associations for those words in different languages. You've only made those associations for the words you speak in your native tongue. And so trying to change them is going to be really difficult because you have been strengthening this mental pattern for a really long time. Like even if you tell your brain, that's not what that means anymore, your brain's going to be like, yeah, it does. You've been thinking that for like 20, 30 years. So instead, you're just going to have to think something extremely neutral, or obviously you can meditate because meditation is the action of taking no thought, right? It's the idea that you're going to go into a place of thoughtless existence. You're just going to observe them until they eventually float away and then you're just there in nothingness. It's pretty amazing, but we are not able to do that or access that so easily. Maybe you're in a moment where you just can't access a meditative state. And so instead of trying to think a positive thought, you're just going to think a really neutral thought. Could be something like, well, at least this won't matter in 5 years. You know, anything to reduce your resistance because your brain, it doesn't speak English.